to Mondays with Mom, the podcast where I, Leah, A.K.A. Mom, and my daughter, Jo,
Hi, everyone.
dive into my stories, experiences, and the lessons I'm finally hoping Jo will take to heart.
Here's hoping. My mom has always dreamed of turning her life into a book or a movie, and this podcast is our way of making that dream come true, one episode at a time.
Hi, Joey.
Hi, Mom. Thanks for introducing the podcast this week.
Well, I thought let's shake it up a bit.
I feel very shaken up. So, Mom,
I'm finally back.
how was the trip?
The last trip was good, actually. It was really good. It was better than what I was expecting. As you know, I've spent the week away taking your grandfather, who's 88 years old, and his helper, to go and see his 95-year-old brother in northern Greece.
That's sweet.
It was very sweet. He was absolutely thrilled and so appreciative. And it kind of put his anxieties to rest, because just to give our listeners a bit of a background, my 88-year-old father has recently developed death anxiety.
Yeah.
And I mean, on the one hand, I feel really bad for him, and that's why I arranged this trip for him. On the other hand, it sometimes makes me smile, and I try and see the humor in it, because my dad has this thought or idea that if he sees his brother, who's older than him, who's 95, and his brother's well, that means he'll also be well. He'll also get to 95.
Yeah.
If anything's wrong with his brother, then he worries that something's going to be wrong with him.
Yeah, he has these weird superstitions now.
So anyway, I decided to put his mind at ease so he can actually chill and just relax and enjoy his life a bit. The interesting thing was when I got to see his brother, who's actually doing not too bad for 95, although the dear soul has recently taken a fall and cracked 4 ribs.
Shame, man.
He's still doing remarkably well under the circumstances. But what happened is, when I saw him, the one thing that I noticed is that his index finger on his right hand is missing.
Oh.
And that reminded me of a story. And then I thought, that's the story that we have to tell this week.
Oh, how could that inspire any story?
Okay, wait, and once you realize which story I'm telling, you're going to understand how that story impacted your life and kind of drove you insane for a period of time. There are funny parts in the story and there's serious parts in the story, but it's a story that I'd really like to tell.
Okay, go for it, Mom.
So, as you know, Jo, when your grandmother died, when my mom died, she was the kind of person who also was a bit superstitious like my dad and wasn't really open to talking about death and wills and what to do after her death. And she really fought ovarian cancer so bravely for 9.5 years.
She did?
Yeah, she was absolutely incredible. I mean, I remember my experiences of cancer before that was watching people in the movies who had just had chemotherapy, and then they would go home and be collapsed and throwing up and feeling terrible. And my mom would go to a shopping center and go buy some clothes to feel better straight after doing chemotherapy. And I was in awe of her.
She was a very strong woman.
Unbelievably strong woman.
And a fashion icon.
And a fashion icon, absolutely, till the very end.
The very end. And she inspired my love of sparkly things.
And of animal print.
Yeah.
And of quite a few of your
juicy velour tracksuits.
There you go. But still, the topic of death and what to do when she died and what we should do and what her wishes were was not something that she was open to discussing. So when she died, my dad came to my sister and I and said that my mom wanted to be cremated.
Oh, okay.
Now, to me, this seemed a little bit odd for 2 reasons. One is that my mom was really a staunch Greek Orthodox woman, and the Greek Orthodox Church is quite strict about that. They don't cremate, they bury.
Never cremate.
I think only in kind of extreme circumstances when they're burying somewhere and there's nowhere else to put the people, that's when they cremate, but generally they bury.
Okay.
And so cremation is kind of frowned upon. So that kind of surprised me. And the second thing was that because she was quite superstitious, I was quite surprised that she would have had a conversation about, what she would like done or what her wishes were after her death.
Yeah.
And so this was very, very difficult for my sister and I to accept. But my dad insisted, and what he told us, which did make sense, is that because in South Africa, the cemeteries where Greek people are buried, they kind of have their own little section in a cemetery.
Yeah.
The Greek Orthodox section.
Mm-hmm.
And because so many Greek people have left the country, the Greek Orthodox section of the cemetery is kind of a bit dilapidated, not barren. It's almost like a bit too lush. It's like overgrown. In fact, I was told by someone quite recently who was burying their person there that on the way to bury their person, they kind of had ahead of the priest and the casket, they had a guy with a lawnmower.
Oh.
So he was going through and mowing the grass so that people could actually walk to the gravesite.
Quite a procession. Wow, okay.
The other thing that kind of worried her a bit is that South Africa being South Africa with its high crime rate, there's a lot of opportunistic crime that happens at the cemetery. So someone kind of walking past there decides that, ooh, here's this person kind of stooped over, concentrating on the gravestone and putting flowers or doing whatever they're doing. So they're not really focused on their surroundings. Exactly. And it's an easy time to rob someone. And in the worst scenario, my mom was aware of someone who was sexually assaulted at the gravesite. So my dad said that my mom was desperate to avoid my sister and I and my dad being put in any danger by going to visit her gravesite. And that's what made her decide to be cremated.
Oh, yeah, no, it's hectic.
So that then kind of made sense to me.
Yeah.
But it always was kind of something that worried me or bugged me at the back of my mind.
That you didn't want to be buried.
Just, you know what, not that she didn't want to be buried, that in my mind, I know it's weird, totally weird, but I needed to almost be sure that she was in the right place after death, wherever that right place may be. Let it be heaven or whatever happens after death.
Yeah.
So because your grandmother
wasn't... You cared about her and you wanted to make sure she was okay.
I wanted to make sure she was okay in the afterlife as well as...
Yeah, we all wanted that, obviously.
Yes, so the big issue here for me was that because both her parents were buried, I almost wanted to be sure that she was in the same place that her parents were.
Uh-huh.
So I kind of, you know me, I don't really keep my fears and anxieties quiet. So I kind of started expressing this to anybody that would listen.
Yeah.
And along the way, people came up with the fact that there was this guy who was a psychic of sort, but apparently a God-fearing Christian psychic.
Interesting.
Yeah, that did sound quite interesting to me. It almost sounded a little bit far-fetched to me. But he was referred to me, or I was referred to him, should I say, by 3 different people.
Oh, okay.
One of them is a close friend of mine, and he himself has some of these psychic abilities.
Oh, yeah, I know him.
But he doesn't bring them on. Almost like you can't go to him and
ask him
to tell you something. He just if something comes to him while he's with you, he'll tell you.
Yeah.
And he had gone to see this particular psychic. And another 2 people told me about the psychic. And one of them was another very close friend of mine who happens to also be a priest.
So you're like...
And so I thought,
so at that point, you must have thought, what's the harm? I'll go.
Well, I didn't think, what's the harm? I'll go, because knowing my mom and knowing how she felt about all these people that could predict or attempted to predict the future or tell you something about the afterlife, or she thought they were weird and evil and that you can't trust them. And I kind of was brought up with that. And I had the same kind of idea.
Yeah.
Now, the actual people that had gone to see this particular psychic had told me that not only did he tell them, and this is how they were telling me why he was so good. Not only did he tell them stuff about their own dead person, but what he did was he told them stuff about other people that were close to them.
Oh, okay.
So the one, the one that really struck me, which I thought was quite funny, was the fact that, actually there were 2.
Yeah.
A friend of the priest's was actually told about a boyfriend who was having an affair.
Oh.
This guy said, listen, please tell this person that she's being cheated on.
Oh.
And then they confirmed it, which was quite odd. And the one that really struck me, this is the one that stood out to me the most, was the fact that a different friend of mine had gone to see him. And he told this particular friend, after telling her about her own person, said to her, please tell your friend, I'm trying to think what her friend's name was. I think it could have been Jessica. Please tell your friend Jessica that Elvis is fine.
Interesting.
And I thought, Elvis? My friend thought, Elvis? Like Elvis Presley? Like Elvis has left the building, but he's fine. Don't worry, he's in another building. I mean, it was quite
That's
odd.
quite bizarre.
She thought this was very bizarre, but, he insisted. So she went to her friend and said, listen, I'm sorry to tell you this, but Elvis is fine. And the friend said, oh, where did you hear that? And she said it was a psychic. And the friend practically burst into tears from relief. And what had actually had happened was years before then, where she had never really mentioned to her close friends, because it had happened when she was a lot younger, she had lost a dog called Elvis.
Oh,
the dog had gone missing. And her whole life, it was eating her up inside that what happened to the dog? Where was he? Was he okay? Did he die? How did he die? And just being told that Elvis was fine put this woman's...
Interesting.
Yes.
So after hearing these stories, you must have thought, okay, I have to then go see this guy, right?
Not quite. As you know me, I kind of need to confirm things and reconfirm things. So I decided I would do what I usually do. My nice, good Christian self would get down on my knees and I would pray to God for a sign. And only if God gave me a sign telling me that it was okay for me to go, then I would go. Because I kept thinking that if I just go I don't know, what if this guy is some weirdo and I'm opening myself up to some weird evil spirit? And the second thing I thought is that my mom will kill me. My mom will kill me from where she is for actually going to see this guy.
Okay.
So I decided I needed to confirm it with God. And so I had a conversation with God, as I usually do, and asked him to please just show me a sign. I kept saying, but it's got to be like an obvious sign, like in the clouds. Clouds must be shaped in the shape of the word yes or no. Or clouds can be like an arrow pointing one direction or a cross. Or the clouds must say no. I don't know. Or the clouds must be in the shape of a stop sign. I didn't know what I wanted, but I needed a definite answer.
Okay. Fair.
So time passed. When I say time passed, I mean this kept eating me up. 18 months had passed.
Yeah, it was months.
18 months since my mom had died, and I still didn't have any definite answer. And I kept driving everybody insane. And you remember, I drove you insane.
Yeah.
I remember you telling me once that, Mom, I'll go. Don't worry about it. Yaya can kill me. I just can't handle this anymore.
Please, I just cannot handle you not knowing if you want to go or not. I'll take it. By the way, I was also writing a final exam, really close to that time. And I was just thinking, you know what? The worst that can happen is that he will tell me he can't know the answers to my final exam. And I'll do anything. Can we just get this over and done with? It's too much. But no, my offer was not good enough.
Okay, so approximately 18 months later, we went on holiday.
Yeah.
And I was like, it was the first holiday I had taken since my mom had died.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, I'm really going to enjoy this holiday and I'm going to put this out of my mind. And it was eating me up inside. So I remember on the last stretch of our holiday, now it's, oh golly, we're going back to South Africa again. And this guy was a South African psychic. I'm now thinking, Lord, okay, you're not giving me a sign, so let me take matters into my own hands. So if you remember, Jo, we were in Mykonos.
Yeah, I remember.
And Mykonos, as everybody knows, is famous for those beautiful whitewashed buildings. And it's got lots and lots of churches, these beautiful, cute-looking churches that have got these little domes on top, as Greek Orthodox churches do. And the little domes in Mykonos, they're either colored red or they're colored blue.
Yeah.
So as you're driving along, you see a lot of them. And if you remember, we had hired quad bikes.
Yeah.
And it was George, and he had Tina behind him on his quad bike, and it was you and I, me driving or riding, whatever you do on a quad bike, and you behind me.
Uh-huh.
And we were going on this thing, and Tina, being the trendy one in the family, had insisted to George that we have to go to the Super Paradise Beach.
Uh-huh.
George is like the least touristy kind of person. He likes going to the less known places and the more interesting place. So he wasn't very thrilled at going to try find Super Paradise, but he said, okay, he'll do it.
He'll do it for Tina.
And on the way to Super Paradise, I then decided that what I was going to do, since I needed to take matters into my own hands, I was going to start counting the tops of churches. And I told myself, the only logical thing, red roof on the church. Red is like a stop sign, so it means stop, which means don't go see this guy. And blue, okay, it's not green, but it's close enough to green. Come on, it's along that side of the spectrum. I mean, you need blue to make green. So
that was quite a...
So once you've got the blue church,
yes,
then you could make the green, which would be the go sign, which would mean go and see him. Mm-hmm. So then I decided that what I would do is start counting churches. And I would count, for example, I would choose one and say, I'm going to start counting red. And if I see 10 red roofs in a row without seeing a single blue one, that would mean stop, don't do it. And the reverse, if I saw...
Normal people would only count up to 3. They didn't need 10.
Okay. As you said, normal people. I'll leave it at that. And so I started counting, but I am a little bit ADD as well. So I do get distracted. So I was counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then something else would distract me. I'd think, was that 5 or was that 4? Was it 6? And then I'd get to like 9, and then I'd see when I think, but was it actually 10 or is it 9? And I got myself totally worked up, and I realized that this was not going to be a good plan. So I had a few words with God, and I said to him, and if you remember, I announced it to the family as well, because I thought maybe the more people that know, they will help me out. And in my mind, I then decided, I said, listen, God, let's make this clear for me. Since you're not writing it in the clouds, and since my counting of red and blue.
I believe God not writing it in the clouds.
I know. I mean, I said to him, because the psychic's name is Jason. Jason in Greek is Iasonas. And I decided that if, while we were on our quad bikes looking for Super Paradise, if we came across a church called St. Jason or Aios Iasonas, that would be my direct sign. And I was very proud of myself for coming up with that. So subsequently, totally foolproof, subsequently, I have discovered that the only St. Iasonas in Greece happens to be in Corfu.
Yeah, in Kerkyra.
In Kerkyra. And so God wasn't going to quickly rebuild one for me. But listen to what he did. So now we're on the quad bikes with George, and I decided that this is what I'm looking out for. And I may have told everyone, guys, keep your eyes and ears peeled in case I miss it, that if there's a St. Iasonas, we've got to stop, and that's my go sign. So while we going around, and just after I've just spoken to God and kind of said a prayer and said, please God guide me because I'm kind of desperate, George takes a wrong turn and we come across a hotel. And the first thing I see is this big sign saying Hotel Jason.
Ooh, yeah, I remember that.
And I thought, whoa. But then, me being me, I thought, okay, listen, God, this is a hotel. I asked for a church. They're not the same thing. So how do I know that this is from God? So I said, listen, God, if this is from you, you're going to have to make it a bit clearer. So how about you show me the word Jason 3 times, and then I'll be happy. So I mentioned this to Jo as well.
Yeah.
And we got to Super Paradise. And there was no more Jasons at the time. And on the way back from Super Paradise, again, we took a little bit of a wrong turn, and there comes the same hotel again. And me being me, I said to God, listen, God, that doesn't count. It doesn't count because it can't be the same place, Jason. Otherwise, I stand in front and just read Jason, Jason, Jason 3 times, and that's not going to work for me. And so I said, I have to see 3 independent Jasons 3 times. So I counted the Hotel Jason as one.
Independent Jasons is a good band name.
Maybe I should mention it to the psychic if he wants to ban, he gets another 2 Jasons, and they can be called the 3 independent Jasons. And so, having driven the family insane and told everybody about this, and I told them now about the hotel, and we're on the quad bikes, and suddenly Jo, behind me, taps me on the shoulder and says, Mom, look. And I look ahead at what she's pointing to, and there's a truck in front of us. advertising the movie The Bourne Identity. And I was getting annoyed. I was thinking, Joe, this is serious right now. We're actually trying to figure out whether I'm going to go see a psychic or not. And you're busy telling me that Matt Damon is hot. Like, this is not
Which I wasn't even saying.
time and place, Joe.
Time and place. Like the audacity. I'm trying to help out.
Tell everyone what you were actually saying.
I was saying that that's Jason Bourne. Jason. But no.
Well,
no.
when you explained it to me, I counted it. I decided.
I had to like have a whole thesis just for her to count it.
But I counted, and that was Jason number 2. So I was really, really excited about that. And then I thought, I promise you now, we're on a roll. I'm going to see the 3rd Jason. And our trip to Mykonos ended. I was searching in case God would write Jason in the clouds. He didn't. I looked around. There was nothing. And our trip ended, and I arrived back in South Africa after having done a bit of shopping, though, I must admit. I still wasn't dissuaded from walking down the main shopping street Ermou in Athens and buying just a couple of pairs of shoes. So what I do remember is when we arrived in South Africa, is George being George, and he was always very anxious in case they stopped us at customs. He said to me, Agapimo, if they stop us at customs, how many shoes are they going to find? And I thought, okay, I said, Agapimo, are we talking about shoes or pairs of shoes? And he said,
that answers your question.
He said, okay, love, tell me about pairs of shoes. And he said, okay, let me pick a number, because I wasn't like very forthcoming. He said, 10 between you, Joe, and Tina. And I said, do you mean 10 altogether or 10 each? Or so eventually I wasn't going to tell George how many shoes there were. And I'm not going to tell you guys either, because it's going to get me into trouble. But we arrived back in South Africa, and needless to say, there were a lot of shoes. They didn't stop us at customs, and we made it home safely, and that was that. So then I decided, because I felt quite guilty that I had bought so many pairs of shoes, and I thought I need to kind of be nice to my husband, whose credit card paid for all these shoes. So I decided to do something that I didn't usually do. I was going to take him lunch.
It's nice of you.
It is nice of me. Nice wife.
Nice wife.
So I arrive at his office with the lunch I had made him. And at this point, because of what happened afterwards, I don't even remember what the lunch was. But I arrive, and he wasn't there. His PA was there. And she said to me, why don't you just leave the lunch on his desk, and I'll make sure he gets it when he gets back. And me being me, I sat down to talk to her, and I gave her this whole Jason story. And I explained to her this, that, the other. And while I'm busy talking to her, she had a list. It was actually a notebook, a ring binder notebook, an A4 one. And she had written the names, because what my husband did as a business was he would represent cruise lines and sell cruise tickets to people.
Yeah.
What she had done is she had written a list of all the people that had bought a cruise or had asked to go on a cruise, and she had underlined and highlighted the only person that had already paid. And guess what that name was? In the middle of the page, underlined and highlighted in yellow highlighter, I will never forget that, was some dude, Jason, that had paid for his cruise.
Wow. Talk about coincidences.
And I thought, wow, God gave me the sign.
Finally. It only took over a year.
And I went.
Uh-huh.
I still was a little bit anxious when I went, but I did go, and I went to go see him. Again, me being me, I was overly suspicious of this guy. So all I gave him was my first name, and he needed my phone number in case I didn't show up. I wouldn't tell him a single thing.
Yeah, because you know, like those kinds of people can scam. They can like look at your social media.
Exactly. And at the time, it was kind of at the time where there was John Edwards on TV.
Yeah.
And I remember my sister used to watch him and kind of say that, look, and it's amazing. And I used to like look at this and think, no, there's no way. And he goes to the middle row and there's someone with an M. You know, I kind of always used to look at it and think these guys are like master statisticians, and that's how they do their stuff.
Yeah.
So
also they would like suggesting that like someone with this, and then like the other person that like suggests their information.
Exactly.
So like, oh, it's a coincidence.
So anyway, I get to this guy, sit down, and all he knew about me was Leah and my phone number. And he said to me, you've come because someone has died. And I said, yes. And he said, who died? And I'm thinking, oh, Lord.
Like, I'm not telling you.
I'm thinking, like, am I actually paying for this? So I kind of like looked at him suspiciously and I said, my mom died. And he said, okay. And then he said to me, he pushed kind of a pack of tarot cards across the table to me. And I thought, whoa, I was told this guy was Christian. I wasn't going to do tarot cards. And he said to me, no, no, no. He said, we're not going to do tarot cards. He said, all I need is for you to hold something or touch something so I can get your energy. And I said to him, get the energy from the chair I'm sitting in or get the energy from the air we're breathing.
Get the energy from ESCOM.
That's a good one, Jo.
Thank you.
But I am not touching your tarot cards. So the poor guy sighed. I don't think he's ever had a client like me in his life before.
I think lots of people can say that about you.
You're very funny. And so he said, okay. Then he asked me a question and he said, what did your mom die of? And I'm thinking, you're actually kidding me now. I've arrived at this guy and I'm giving him the information. I mean, what's the point? Anyway, I like kind of said to him, he said, no, just I need to know a few things, he said, about her. So I thought, okay. So I said, well, she died of ovarian cancer. And then he kind of said to me, oh, but he said, that's not what she's telling me. She's telling me that she died because of her lungs. And I thought, okay, all right, dude. A lot of people that have cancer end up with their lungs filling with fluid, and it's difficult for them to breathe. And that's something that finally tips the scale, and that's how they die. And I thought, oh no, this could happen to anybody. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't give me any information. So I kind of like looked at him a bit suspiciously. And then he said to me, he said, who is Elena? Who is Elena? Now, just to go on a small sidetrack, is because this man was South African.
Yeah.
And because, as I told you, I'm Greek and my grandparents were both buried while my mom was cremated. My idea of what would have put my mind at ease was if this man mentioned my mom's name together with her parents, and her parents were Evangelia and Dimitri. Mm-hmm. So I thought if at any point this South African guy tells me about Evangelia and Dimitri, I'm going to know that my mom's okay.
Yeah.
So he then tells me Elena, which I kind of, I don't know, did a bit of a John Edwards, and I thought, okay, my niece's name is Eleni. And she had 2 months before I went to go see this guy, 2 or 3 months.
Oh, she was head girl. She became head girl of her school.
That's right. She became head girl of the school. And he just said to me, your mom wants you to say congratulations to Elena. So I thought, okay, all right. I still wasn't convinced.
Yeah.
He then said to me that, he said a whole lot of things to me, but one of the things he said to me is he said, your mom is with a man. And I said, okay.
Yeah, good for her. I'm kidding.
I thought, well, thanks, Mom. You leave me with your husband here, and now you're in heaven with a man. Thanks, Mom. Thanks for that one. But no, he said to me, she's with this man, and they are showing me their hands. Why are they showing me their hands? And I said, okay, listen, here we're getting too much. There's too many questions to me. I have no idea why they're showing you their hands. And he basically said to me, hang on a second, he said, I see what they're showing me. And I said, what? And he said, the man she's with, they're showing me that he's missing an index finger on his right hand.
The goosebumps.
Now, that's why I was reminded of Papu's brother. Uh-huh. But basically, my mom's dad, Dimitri, was in an accident when he was in his 20s, and he was missing the index finger on his right hand.
Wow, yeah.
So that was quite a thing. And then over and above that, now, the other thing he told me, which my dad used to, because my mom really loved gambling. She was a nice, good Greek woman. And my dad and her used to often go to a casino on a Sunday and gamble. And what would happen is after my mom died, my dad would take my mom's car, probably once a month or so, to the casino. And he would tell us that he would go sit in the chair where she would sit at the machine that she used to like to play at. And he would just sit there and cry. He wouldn't gamble, he would just cry. And I mean, it broke my heart. But the amazing thing is that he had happened to go there 2 days before I saw Jason, and it was my dad and my mom's wedding anniversary, which he wasn't aware of the date, my dad, and we wouldn't tell him because we didn't want him to cry anymore. He was crying enough already.
Yeah.
But he did tell us that, on that day, he just happened to go to the casino and sit there at the machine as he usually did. And so what Jason then proceeds to tell me is he said, recently there's been a very important day for your mom, something very significant. He said, I don't know what it was. Was it her date of birth? Was it the date of death? Was it? And I thought, oh, golly, here I go, more information again. So I said, okay, it was her wedding anniversary. And he says, okay. He says, she's acknowledging that date and she wants you to go back and tell your dad that he went to a casino on that day and he was at a machine on his own crying. And she wants your dad to know that he was there, but he wasn't on his own crying. She was right there with him.
Oh, shame.
And that for me, was quite profound. I thought there is no way statistically you can come up with that. Between that and the finger, I was convinced.
Yeah.
Immediately just put my mind at ease.
Yeah, sure.
And also, he mentioned quite a few other things that I think I'll bring up in other episodes because they're quite fascinating.
Okay. Sounds good.
It basically for anyone out there that's lost a person, that's wondering, there definitely is something else out there, and those people do watch over us. Yeah. And I think that put my mind at ease and also gave me hope, real hope, that one day I will be reunited with all my loved ones that have passed away.
Yeah, and you can escape me. Just kidding. You're not going to escape me ever.
To finish off, what I do want to say to everyone is that, listen, God does give answers. Probably the moral of the story here, of this one, Jo, is that when you ask God for something, try and not be very specific. Kind of leave it to be a bit open-ended and then look out for stuff because the poor guy, God can do anything, but I think he's busy with so many other things. He's not quickly going to build a new church just for me to put my mind at ease.
Oh, well, that's a shame.
But he does always come through for us.
Uh-huh. So I guess it is something that we're grateful for, right?
We're very, very grateful. And we're grateful to know that I don't have to keep harassing people and that I do believe that my mom is in a better place.
Yeah. That won't stop you from harassing people, but it's okay.
Thanks, Joey.
That's why I love you.
Thanks, Joey.
And yeah.
We do this podcast as a form of it's called Abuse with Mom. Or Mondays to Abuse Mom.
No, I don't think of it like that. I think it's a way of getting out frustrations.
Well, I love you.
I love you too.
And guys,
I always love listening to your stories. And I'm grateful that you're here to tell them.
And I'm grateful for the opportunity. And thanks, guys, so much for listening.
And don't forget to subscribe and follow us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or however you're listening to be notified of new episodes because we do post a new episode every week. And I would really appreciate it.
Thank you, and looking forward to our next chat.
Yeah, see you guys.
Bye.
Bye.